Welcome everyone. In these times of severe restrictions, we thought that one useful thing that the ACMS could do for its members is to hold a masterclass. And we are grateful to our tutors, Rachel Scott and Jocelyn Fazzoni, for conducting the masterclass this afternoon. We hope you'll find it interesting and rewarding and useful for your own future performances. And we're delighted that you're all there.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. So, welcome everybody. I know that lots of you know who I am. I'm Rachel, I'm a cellist. I'll be looking after these four wonderful players today. Whilst they are playing, if you have a question come up while they're playing or during a teaching point or something that we might be working on, the beauty of this live streaming is it's quite interactive. So what you have to do is you sit at your computer and email Richard, who's actually sitting behind the camera, and he will get your email, and then he's going to wave at me, and possibly you will hear his voice, kind of like the voice of the Lord coming down, and ask a question. And do feel free to ask anything, because this is a new format. So these guys, you've never done anything like this before? No. I've done a little bit of this sort of teaching online. I think it's really great. And when we can't meet, this is kind of, second best to meeting, and it's a hopefully something that you'll all enjoy. So the quartet here are going to play a Beethoven String Quartet, Opus 18, number 1. They're going to play the first movement, and just like in an ACMS tutorial, I'm going to sit back and listen to what they do, and then I'm going to pull it all to pieces.
Thanks, Rachel.
glasses on. So, tell me, do you guys play together regularly?
Yes,
normally,
we do.
yes.
Yeah.
And so, who chose this particular quartet to play today? Whose idea was this?
No, it was collective.
Okay.
Collective.
Right. Okay.
We tossed it around. We said
yes.
Opus 18.
Yeah.
Okay, which Opus 18? Which
Very
one?
democratic.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. We like a democratic quartet.
We also had a score.
Yes. So this was the only one with a score, right? So when you play together, what sort of what are you hoping to, like, is there anything that I can specifically help you with today? Has there been anything that has come up in rehearsals, any tantrums or tears or...
We don't do tantrums.
No.
We were sort of what we found hardest was
Yes.
the bum, da da dum bum, getting those semiquavers exact. That was
Yes.
the thing we found hard.
Yep.
And then we tried to work on our pianissimos,
Right.
getting them right down.
Yes.
I'm not sure that we always succeeded, but
Okay.
And there was some, in some of our parts, the notes were marked staccato, and some of them weren't. And so we had to decide whether to play them all the same, or whether it was meant to be some staccato and
Right.
some not.
So this is, I don't know if you can hear, but Anne just spoke about there were some things marked staccato and some things not. Now, first question, what edition are you using?
I'm using Peters.
Right.
Peters are using Peters.
Right?
I'm the only one using the Verlag.
Right. So this is a really interesting thing to start with, because in the 50s, 60s, there were lots and lots of editions going on. And then somebody has come along and tried to create as clean as possible edition of Beethoven. They've done this with Bach. They've also done it with Elgar as well. They're the three that I know, but there are probably other ones as well. And most professional musicians go for these copies because they are the least adulterated. So the most what Beethoven would have written or Bach would have written. So often if somebody was making an edition, they may have put a helpful suggestion in for their quartet or themselves. So they may have had, for example, a really sloppy viola player. So they would have thought, okay, to make my viola player play in a particular way, I'm going to put staccatos there, which is not what Beethoven would have written. It's what an editor would have done. So I would urge you to go to the Urtext, which is the Henry Verlag, which Jenny has, and that is your Bible. It's not the Peters. So if you have staccato marks here and this part doesn't in this edition, they don't exist. Good. They would have been probably put in there for a helpful thing. Now, there may, however, be some times when your first violinist might turn to the cellist and say, I can't hear you clearly enough. And this could be because you're playing on the bottom two strings, or we really need to articulate, in which case you would put your own staccato marks in. Which is not to say, but then you've put them in for a reason, and it's not Beethoven.
Right.
So first question is this, da bi da di di di. So I'm looking at the Henley version, and there are staccatos over the quavers. Do you start up bow? Do you start down bow? What did you do? How did you come across the, did you try both ways? Did you reject them?
Yes,
Why did you reject them?
We're starting down bow. I think one of the considerations, I mean, all sorts of things were said, but one of the things that I remember, that we thought that if we ended the phrase on an up bow, we would be less likely to come down with a crash.
Mm-hmm, good idea. Did you try down, up, down? No.
I don't think so.
Well, we thought about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Because here's something interesting. So if you're ever working on bowing, what your violinists do aren't necessarily what the bottom two voices do, and often what the top three does is not what we want at all. I want you to try, first of all, the bowing that you all agreed on, which was down, up, yes? Yeah, so just the first 4 bars. Okay, do it once more so that you're all feeling. I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now play for me. Everybody plays down, up, down. 1, 2, 3. Okay, try again. 1, 2, 3. Now try you guys doing the up, bottom two voices doing the up, you two not doing the up, but doing the original bowing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now swap around. So you two do the up, you do the original bowing. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now consensus, was one easier for you than the other? Which were they?
My one is the up bow, and the ending on an up bow.
Ending on, so the original bowing, so
Yeah.
you're down, up, down, up.
me it is.
Yes, for
Yes,
you.
and me too.
Yes, for
Yeah.
you too.
I'm undecided. I suspect that if it's piano, it might be better to do 2 ups. Whereas if it's stronger dynamic, to do the way in which we were doing it.
Mm-hmm. Let's
Because-
try, let's try something else. Start with an up bow. So do up, down, up. So separate the 2 quavers, but start with an up bow. Okay, now the 3 of you start with an up bow. You start with a down bow to bring them in. 2, 3. Okay, now do it without me counting you in. All right, now do it without me counting you in at the dynamic that Beethoven wrote. Okay, now this is starting to get a little bit interesting, and now this is the dynamic that you need to start. It's really dangerous to bring people in on an up bow, right? Especially at the start of the
Yeah,
quartet,
right,
very
right.
scary for you. So what did you guys think of starting with an up bow?
I think it's okay because a lot of the other, I've got that particular figure in lots of parts in this, and it's all marked up bow, and I've been doing up bow.
Mm-hmm. You see, I agree with you ending the quaver at the end in the second bar. So the ba da da. If you end with a down bow, it does sort of become a bit clunky, and you sound like a junior string
It
quartet.
feels heavy.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yes, because then you can sort of get the gesture of it. But it was too heavy with you all doing it, and it wasn't clear enough for my ears. Because you're down the bottom, you're going to have to be really clear and concise. So it wasn't really working very well. So this throws up an interesting thing where you are all going to be doing different bowing. Now, I've watched a number of YouTube clips of this, and in particular, clips of quartets in the 70s and 80s. And what was the most interesting was nobody was doing the same bowing. And what was the most interesting for me was that not even the 2 violinists were doing the same bowing. So this is one of these things where you think, okay, what's the sound that we're after? How can I do this on my instrument with the strings that my instrument has?
Can I just interrupt?
Absolutely.
The reason I'm interrupting is we have worked endlessly to do the same bowing in so many haven't we?
Yes.
In so many places we have debated and practiced it so that we will all be doing the same bowing, and you're telling us that we don't have to do that.
That's correct.
Okay.
So there is a way of thinking though. I mean, sort of now in string quartets, and of course I'm not a professional cellist in a string quartet, where there's this whole idea of kind of a homogeneous sound, where you all want to be like one instrument with 16 strings. But for me, the most interesting chamber music are the quartets from the 60s and the 70s, where you can hear the 4 individual players, and so that it's okay to do things differently. But then if you think, okay, this is the sound that we're after, so we want this lifted end of the second bar, we want the very clear staccatos in beat 3, how can we do that? All by doing the same bowing was a bit clumsy, and by doing different bowing it was a little bit better. So this is my advice to you, is probably don't worry about it quite so much, because there are bigger things to worry about than bowing.
Right.
So you're suggesting that the lower strings start on an
I would really suggest it, because now the reason that I don't suggest that Sheila starts on an up bow is because she has to bring you in to begin with. But you guys can really nicely sneak in on an up bow, and you're going to really play up bow. Like none of this kind of amateur hour up bow starting here business. Your up bow is there because you bought a whole bow, so you might as well use the whole thing. So now let's just try with the three of you starting up bow, but you bringing them in on a down bow. Okay, now this to me is sounding better. I'll turn to the floor. Is this sounding better? Yeah, see, I've got a thumb up and I've got Jocelyn nodding, and if Jocelyn's happy, everybody's happy. Now, the other thing is that this is not particularly, you're not playing dee ba da 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 da. It's a bit sloppy. Why is it a bit sloppy?
Bows are too long, taking too long.
Right, yes. Why else?
Well, I'm terribly uncomfortable playing that last note as a down bow, I have to say.
I'm sorry
It feels
about
really,
that.
it feels really heavy on my bow.
Okay,
When
well,
I'm doing
why don't
this,
you?
it just
Okay, well,
feels right.
you try sneaking in on a down bow, but because I want you to play piano, then you're going to start up here and
Okay.
playing the tip of your bow, so you feel more comfortable. But my problem is that I think you three are being a little bit passive here. So you all need, before you start, you all need to be going dee ba ba da ba bum. Like you've got a little click track going, and then all you do is play in time. Okay, now really breathe them in. Da, ba, da, da. Look, I'll do it. Again. I didn't breathe you in. Do this. Ah, this is good. Do it. Stop. Now do it once more so I know you've got it. No, that wasn't as good. No, do it like the way you did it the first time. Now, you're breathing them in with a very slow breath. If I want you to come in, right, or let's say I'm talking to you, I will say, hi, right, and I'll give you some energy. But if I sort of go, oh, hi, you're not really going to want to talk to me. And this is kind of, this is sort of like sizzling barbecue here. So you've got to give them something. You've got to inspire your cellist to wake up. Okay, try again now. Ah, this is good. Now do it piano. Ah, yes. Now stop, do it once more, and then I'm going to let you keep going and stop shouting at me. Yes. Now start softer. There, yes. Okay, here we go. Go! No, that sounds polite. Stop. How are you going to play forte? That's it. The beginning now is fantastic. Then you get to this forte and you all start playing in pastels. This is Beethoven. Come on. What are you going to do? Speak to me. What are you going to do? Anne's going to sigh.
I thought we were playing forte.
Yeah,
but we weren't.
No,
Well,
we're not to make it too legato.
quicker, further towards the bridge.
Not legato, sort of.
Huh?
Yeah, it's sort of more gritty,
Breathe.
right? Try from the start. This is lovely at the start now. I like this a lot. Okay, go again. Just play like that.
We're from
From the beginning. Now stop. Be up here. Lynn, go all the way here. No. Oh, just knocked over the record plant. There. That's the tip of your bow.
Oh, are we doing up bow? Sorry, I was going to do it.
No, but you're doing a down bow so you feel comfortable because you
Okay.
complained.
All right.
Shh. Ah, yes. Now here we go. Shh. There, yes. Okay, here we go. Breathe, go! Yes! Keep going, go! Now shush! Shh. Stop! That's not piano. I mean, that's a nice MF. It's a lovely sound. It was beautifully in tune, but it wasn't what he wrote. Go from forte. I like this better now.
You should be a piano
We're doing it down on this one.
Okay.
From what? From
Where?
Go from the forte.
From
I
now.
know.
Okay.
Yes, go. Ah, now shh. Okay, now what happens here?
Well, this was one of our queries.
Mm.
Our score said.
Mm. So our score, what, this score?
Well, the score. That
This score.
I don't
So
think
this.
you loved.
No, I did not love it. This score.
No. Well, anyway, that score
Yes.
said that the first of these notes here
Mhm.
should be a forte,
Yes.
and then piano on the second.
Yes.
And my part is marked starting on a piano. I suppose
Right.
it's a small point.
Well, it is a small
Discuss it.
point, but it is useful. Now, so what happens is that the first violin plays ya da da ya. I'm there, so you can kind of do whatever you want. Really, no one's going to notice you.
Right.
Really,
That's not the right answer, Rachel.
but
This is a very important lower part.
it is a very important lower part. But what I'm more interested in is the 5 quavers after that, where you sort of wafted around in the string, and I need
What 5 quavers after?
this one.
Oh, that.
So I got from you blah 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 blah.
Well, that's what
I
I'm
know.
talking about.
Yeah, but I need.
Oh. I'm not quite sure what it means.
Sort of, I need a little. At the moment, I'm sort of getting to like this wafty, too much bow. But you're the metronome now. The two of you are this metronome.
So I'm doing it off the string.
Yeah, but
Is
but
that
let's
not right?
no. It's like hold your bow. I can't play the violin. Now move your bow up to the up to the frog. Yeah. Now give me a little bit of bow. Go. Now can you shorten it a little bit? Yeah. Don't do this lifting up business.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Well, we haven't finished yet.
Oh, alright, okay.
Right. Now keep a little bit of bow. Move slightly towards the fingerboard.
So it's crunchy.
Right, now, hang on. Just let me go here, okay? Okay? Now, the reason that it's scrunching is we've got too little bow and too much pressure. So what I want you to do is a tiny little bit more bow.
That's my bad bowing. It's still scrunching.
But it's scrunching less. Now, you're going to be covered by your viola player. Now, I also need, now you need actually shorter bows than her because you've got flabbier strings now. This is not a personal thing. You're just a viola player. So now, this part, dick, 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 dick. Now, you have to match this. You're like two little woodpeckers. Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to need to be further up to your frog. I can tell you that for free.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, to the frog. I thought
Yeah,
you
the
meant
frog.
bridge. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Shorter. Ah. See, he covers your crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can just sort of sneak in. You're kind of like the gnome that comes in here, like this. So now let's go. So your first note doesn't really matter. Sheila's going to cover you. She's
Okay.
finishing a phrase. Yum bam ba ya, and then instantly it's like the bottom falls out, and the two of you start. And then the cello creeps in. And because you've now given her space, she can play really nice and quietly so that she can just go be biddy dee dee do. All right? Let's go. You've got
Bar numbers.
Yeah, number
Bar-
10.
I've got an
Yeah,
A mark.
left
Okay, you've got
Which
A
is
marks,
where they
yeah.
start those.
29.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why don't you go 7 before A? That should be a sforzando if I've counted
Yep.
it. Oh, no, go 8. 8 before A. Yes?
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Now, more sforzando. There! Yes. Now, keep going. More. Yes! Come up to the frog. Come up to the frog. Frog. Okay, this little bit. So now we've got you guys. So you've got to practice going yum dim be ya ba 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 ba. So So this would be something that you need to do kind of 10 times at home by yourself, which is boring practice, but it's what's got to happen.
So it really
Now-
should come, that note should start on a piano.
I would think so, yes,
Yeah, okay.
because nobody cares about that note. They care about the other notes after. It makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
What I said. Okay. Now, first violin. What's your part here?
It's a little obligato.
It is a little obligato. So can you play it now like you're sort of improvising over the top? Beep, beep, ya, beep, ba, ba. Sort of you come up and then come down and come up and come down. You probably can't be too soft because you're the higher voice. You don't have to drive it. You don't have to do anything. These guys are going to drive it. Now, every time you have a change of note, which is not very often, I want you just to ping it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, let's go straight from on there wherever the woodpeckers come in. Bar A.
Rachel, when
Yes.
you say I can't be too soft,
No.
which way does that mean?
That means be softer.
Be soft. Okay.
It means
yeah.
shut up.
Okay.
Yeah. But sort of be sort of, you know, like one of those irritating people that would be soft and don't laugh. Sort of come up and go.
I don't know anyone like
No,
that.
no. But you know, make us kind of fall in love with you a little bit. Be a little bit cheeky. Okay, here we go. Or one
From where?
from A.
A. Okay.
Yep. Or 1, 2, 3. Now do something different. Yes. Nice. Now, shh, 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 shh. Softer, softer. Shh, shh, shh. Okay, now big problem here, really easy solution. Anytime you have a beep 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 or a you have to breathe yourself in. Right? And then you will never be late. So all four of you start sniffing, and it's very un-COVID friendly. It is noisy, which is why in a string quartet concert you never sit in the front row. You always sit about 3 rows back.
Particularly if they've all got a cold.
Exactly. But the thing is that because, you know, Anne will sniff and give Lynn kind of courage to come in, and then so you sort of inspire one another to come in, because you can't, none of you can be passive here. Beep 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 beep. So you have to you kind of give each other sort of that energy. Why don't you go from B? This was really nice first violin playing. This was really lovely.
From where from?
B. B for big bottom. Now, shh. Shh. That's a shh.
That totally put me off. I had this vision then.
Now, shush. Shh. Yeah. No, stop. Now you got a flabby viola player. Ba, bida dee dee. Dee. Stick it, you kind of, you know, this is your little bubbles coming to the surface. Again. Shh. Now, here we go. Stop! I can hear no breathing apart from mine.
I'm breathing. I'm breathing.
Yeah, but we need... Your quartet needs to hear you. I'll stand away and stop intimidating you all.
So
Yes.
the breath is on the first beat.
Yes, it's in the res. Da. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
breathing in, okay.
Yes, breathing in.
Or out. Whichever you like.
I'd probably say the breathing in.
All right.
All right, try again from B.
From B.
Here we go. So all of a sudden is beep, 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 beep. This has got to feel better to play over the top of it, did it? With these guys now all playing in time? Yes? So all you have to do is look at them in a place like this and just say, could you please play in time? Because it's actually... But then it's so much easier for your part to fit over the top, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this... Be-dee-dee-ya-da-dee-da-dee-dee-dee-dee. So if we were going to sing it, you wouldn't play... You wouldn't sing be-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. You go be-ya-dee-ya-da-dee-da-da-da. Now, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it is your turn to have it, you are all good enough musicians. I want you to just push the other members of your quartet to just wait for you a little bit. So you start at... You've got yada dee 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 be yada dee 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 dee, and if you just kind of nurse them in a little bit, that should inspire them.
You know what they said to me when I did that?
They told
They
you.
said play in time.
Ah,
No.
but you're the first violinist, and what you do is you say no.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go.
These notes in Jenny's thing are not dotted?
No, they're not dotted, are they?
No.
So this is somebody saying, what I want you to do is, because you've got this yappy yappy yatta yitta yitta, I want you just to lift the last bit rather than playing
Right.
because it's sort of a gesture. So Beethoven would have known how string players play. What did he play? He played two instruments. What did he play?
Piano.
Yes, piano and...
Violin, wasn't it? No.
Yes! He played viola. So he would have been playing viola in his string quartet. So the joke is, if your viola player, and he wasn't a very good viola player, if your viola player can't play a string quartet or a symphony, it's too fast. Because he wasn't a great viola player, but he was adequate. So you always take the tempo. If the viola player says it's too fast...
There you go.
Gosh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
How are you having
Yes. But so let's do this. Let's go from B again so that you can all get this sniffing thing, because once you get used to it, it's a really good thing. You can do this anywhere. And then I want you to do the B-ya-dee-ya-da-da-da-da. So ignore what they told you and you play how you damn well want.
Okay, now wait a second. Sorry.
Yeah, look, you can
It's
stretch
there,
that one.
it's
Yeah.
there with
Within
Yeah.
reason, Sheila. Within reason, within reason.
Okay, B. Shh. Can you go softer? Go softer. Use a tiny bit of bow. Stop. Yeah, really? P, stretching, what? You pushing a fridge across the floor?
I made the wrong
Um,
that put me on.
C, what about C?
Oh, yeah.
With an accent there. Why not try it with a down bow? You need to go back to woodpeckers. Same thing. Just try it. You might hate it, but I think not. Oh, I don't know.
Class 72.
72?
Right,
Yes.
just one sec. I can.
Yeah. Okay. So right at the frog.
Oh, frog.
Frog.
for me too.
Yes.
I thought I could do it a little bit further up.
Why?
I thought you said I could do it a little bit further up, but near the fingerboard.
All right.
Did I
but just
mishear you?
no. You heard me fine. I'm obviously contradicting myself. Just play short, okay?
Okay, righto.
Okay. Right now, can you give me a flick? Ya da 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 da. Sort of ping at the start, and then disappear. 2, 3. Now here we go. Nothing. Shh. Now, shh. Now keep going. More. Yes. And stop. Do we need to stop there? No. Has anybody emailed in a question?
No.
No questions at all, says the voice of the Lord.
I've got a question though.
Okay, go.
It's the opening. The two phrases at the beginning.
Yes.
Where are they going?
Where are they going? The flippant part of me says the end. But this is a good point.
I feel it's the opening. And to me, that they weren't going anywhere. And I just wonder where we think they could go.
I think they're going towards.
Bar 9, I think it's an 8
Well,
bar.
I think it's bar 12 because you've got it repeated.
No,
But it's not repeated though, is it?
No.
What's the difference?
I think it's.
Well, it's loud. That's all.
It's
The only-
9.
I think it's bar 9.
At bar 9.
I think that's one.
Well, you could say it goes to bar 9, or you could say it goes to bar 11, and just that first phrase is repeated, but now
Yeah.
it's loud.
But the two little kind of what's the difference between those two? They're the two that you're after, isn't it? Yeah.
Nothing, because they're leading
Wrong.
to the next.
Oh.
There's a really big difference.
Oh.
Well,
But
there's
one's
a difference
leading
of
to the
pitch.
Yes, there's a difference of pitch in the last note. Which is the less familiar? Be-be-de-de-de-dim.
The second
Be-be-de-de-de-dim. Right, the second one. So probably what I would do, but this is not to say it's right, because I have been known to be wrong in the past,
And the present.
is I would probably say the first one, piano, and then the second one probably PP, because you're going somewhere that isn't where we think you're going. And the reason that I would say that would be that the second one has the final note, which is not what you would expect. So it's like you sort of start and then you become even more
But
cautious.
if you do it PP, the unexpected note. doesn't
No,
that
not the
sound-
unexpected note. The two bars. So you'd play.
But my thought was
Yeah.
when you come to the unexpected note, you need to sort of mark it in some way, not by an accent, but not by making it much softer.
So making that second repeat a little bit louder, rather
Not
than
maybe
softer.
not the whole repeat, but the last note. Just not even loud. I just think that.
Do you
because
think
it's not
perhaps
quite
possibly
expected,
a little bit longer?
maybe a
The,
bit
the
longer.
actual note a little bit longer. So you'd go be be di di dim be ya da da dun dim be di di.
So you made it shorter then?
No, just didn't.
No, but when you were singing it.
No, you can.
Be be di di dim
Oh, I didn't hear the end of the note, sorry.
Sorry. But it would be, but then this would be something that you would try as a quartet, and you may have two people that go, actually, I really hate that. So then you'd have to come up with something. Is this sort of along
Yes.
the lines that you would be thinking of?
What would you think, Richard?
So
What
then
would you
you-
want
Well,
to have?
I think it's posing a question, and so however you play it, it sounds, the first phrase sounds normal, and then something's out of kilter. There's something wrong, which is then going to be worked on, and in a way, that's the whole genesis of what comes after that. Is this unexpectedness? There's a little tension, and we take it from there. The way it sounded initially was just a repeat of the same thing for no purpose. So it's saying, what's the point? Whereas it's actually got to generate the movement of the whole movement. That's what I think. But sometimes I'm wrong.
I think what happens next
I think it's leading to bar
is,
5.
yeah, I think that with the hairpin in the middle is where it's leading to, that those two...
So do
As
you
we
see
go.
it then as getting bigger? Yeah, but Richard's point is that within those 4 bars, have you lost? We've lost your interest already.
Mm.
It's going to be a long movement for you, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I don't feel that. I feel that to me it needs something to follow it. I feel that that's leading to something, and I feel that it leads to this da 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 da. I think it leads on really well to that. But you don't
So,
know.
viewers, we've come up with the conclusion that nobody actually agrees with anybody here. Maybe, and we've got from the floor, yes?
Sometimes you can hear something very clearly in your own head, but you're not actually getting it out to the people listening. So, Jenny, you may feel that you can hear what's happening and where it's going to go, but there's a difference between that and you actually getting it across to us listeners.
Well, how does one do that then?
By this process, I actually incline towards the making the second one just up at the end, kick up at the end, and be slightly louder.
I agree with you actually. If you're going to make it different, rather than making it soft, I think it should be a bit louder.
Just at the
With
end.
only the last note.
Okay, well, should we have a
If you're
little...
going to emphasise the last note by making it louder.
And we've got another opinion. Jocelyn.
Well, from the 4, I sometimes think rather than thinking of what we'll do in a note length or a dynamic or whatever, if the group has unanimity of thought, and I totally agree with Richard here, that it's a question, and then there's a silence in which the question is pondering above, and then there's a resolution of the question, not immediately, but with the crescendo, isn't it?
Yeah,
As Jenny says,
that's
if
what
the
I
group,
think.
if the group has that consensus rather than let's work out, say, a note length or a dynamic, it can work better.
So shall we try it? We'll take
So what are we
So
trying?
all right. So do we think that the first 2 bars would be a soft statement,
Well, I think so.
right? As long
I
as the
don't know what
second
everyone
violin is
thinks.
happy. But
My sense is that the second resolution, this unexpected note, that shouldn't be too soft because you don't want it to be lost because it's the element of tension.
Well, can't we do that second?
Yeah.
okay,
Well, a
so
little louder,
so
that's
why
what I'm
why
saying.
don't we say we'll take Jocelyn's idea and run with it. So what you're doing is you're stating the first 2 bars. Like if we just think about it generally, stating the first 2 bars softly, asking a question in the second 2 bars that hangs in the air.
But how are we going to do that? Are we going to do that the same? Are we going to do that as soft as the first 2, or are we going to do it?
Why
louder?
don't we just be a bit rock and roll here and just see what happens? See how you're going to do it. Just think now. So actually think technically, how would I do this to ask a question? Would you say this would be a fun thing?
Just as an experiment, rather than maybe working it out, play with the idea.
Okay.
Okay, now my first thing is, can you just do that all again at the dynamic that Beethoven wrote for you, please?
See, can I just say something?
Go.
I think those first bars are a sort of question, and that one with the hairpin is an answer. That's the way I'm looking at it. Da, 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 da. And then the answer is da.
Okay. So far though, I've not heard questions from you because you've all played too loudly.
Okay.
Okay, just run with me now. Now I like this dynamic. I want you to so the first two bars I want you to play exactly like that. The second two bars I want you to play less. And then you can have your answer in the next little phrase. Shh. Okay, so we've got thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down.
Because they didn't do what you said.
Oh, yes, we did.
We did play softer.
I'm
I don't
sure
think
we
it works.
did.
I
know I did.
Play softer on the second because a question is much more interesting and leaves up in the air.
It should be louder.
If it's dum ba da da dum dum ba da da dum, more suspenseful.
So the second one should be softer.
The second one should be
I think
softer
so.
with a decrescendo
we do
through
that?
it.
We tried, but we're
We
not
did try.
convinced, obviously.
Just-
we don't agree.
Just
Right,
just
let's
run
do
with it.
No, we
Okay,
tried.
we,
Yeah,
we,
yeah,
we
yeah.
are trying.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know
We're
you're
trying,
very
Rachel.
trying. Yes,
We are trying
yes,
very
yes. So you've got, from an audience perspective, 4 thumbs up.
Well, that was good.
Good.
Oh, very good.
Well, what
good
I
note to
did
end
that
on.
was different
Mm.
that time was I did the second one in a different part of the bowl. I moved it down
Mm.
or up, whichever. Anyway, up to the
Yeah, you
neck.
moved it towards the tip. Yes, and why did you do that?
It was only
Because although I thought I'd played it softer the first time, the audience didn't seem to do
No,
that. So
and
I-
it's really interesting, isn't it? So what we think that we do, taking from what Sue said, what we often think we are doing, we are not doing. And also from what, and I can speak most from a cello perspective. So what we hear as the cellist here is often totally different to what, say, even so Sue is, for viewers at home, Sue is sitting probably, what are you, 1.5 meters away? 2 meters away. So what Anne is hearing with her cello is quite different to what Sue is hearing in the front row of the audience, and would be even better in over here. Now, Richard has just done this to me, which either means he wants me to do the hokey cokey and turn around, or he wants me to stop talking now. I'm thinking the latter. Yes, he's looking at me. So I want to say to the 4 of you, thank you for being the first ever live streamed masterclass for the ACMS. We have made history here.